Bonjour à tous et toutes. Aujourd'hui, je vais parler à propos de l'utilisation du passé composé dans le causatif. Ok, je trouve que beaucoup de mes étudiants se confondent avec l'utilisation d'objets directs et l'objet indirect. Et je vais montrer une façon facile d'identifier quand on a utilisé l'objet direct et l'objet indirect. Ok, alors voyons et commençons à regarder l'écran. So, je vais expliquer en anglais parce que comme ça sera plus facile aux étudiants. Okay, basically what I was just telling is I'm going to be talking about how we use the passé composé, that is the past tense in the causative construction. But before that, I'm just going to give you a little recap on the direct object and the indirect object. All right, now so this is just like a very small recap. So how does one know if the direct object is used or the indirect object is used? So that accordingly, when you know when the direct or the indirect object is used, you can use the correct pronoun, isn't it? And like I said, I'm not going to be going into what the pronouns are. It's just a small video, a recap of the direct on the indirect object. The easiest way to identify if a sentence has been made constructing a direct or indirect object is to ask a question to find out the answer of get the answer in which you get the subject of the sentence. For instance, if you see il voit le chat, which says he sees the cat, now we all know that the cat is the object over here. So sorry if you ask a question to find out the object of the question, not the subject. My apologies. So il voit le chat. So in this you see he looks at the cat, right? So we all know that cat is the object here. But how do you ask a question to find out to know what was the object? So you ask il voit quoi, right? So he sees what. So when you use what or who in a sentence, right, like in a question to get the answer, then it's an example of a direct object. So in this case, il voit le chat, il voit quoi? Le chat. So le chat, the cat, becomes a direct object and we use the appropriate pronoun. So il le voit. But if you look at this sentence over here, il parle à ses amis, he is talking to his friends. We used e over here because just to denote that we are female friends. So il parle à ses amis. So we all know that ses amis is the object. Now whether this object is a direct or an indirect object, what do? We ask a question. So he speaks to what? To whom? So it's a qui, right? We ask this question, a qui. So when we use a qui, the qui, a quoi, etc., any interrogative with a preposition in front of it, then the object is an indirect object. Let's go to a second example. So, ils donnent les livres. They give the books. They give what? Ils donnent quoi? Les livres. So, les livres is what? A direct object because it answers the question quoi or qui and hence a direct object. But if you look at this one, je fais un cadeau à Priya. Okay, like I'm giving a gift or I'm making a gift to Priya. So, je fais un cadeau à qui? Like we want to know à qui. We want to know if Priya is a direct object or an indirect object. So, je fais un cadeau à qui? So, since this answer to the question à qui, it's an example of an indirect object. So, je lui fais un cadeau. So, that's why we use the pronoun for an indirect object. So, remember, whenever the interrogative uses a preposition like à qui, de quoi, it's an example of an indirect object. And anything which uses what or who, not to who, just what or who, without a preposition, it's an example of an indirect object. So I just given a couple of more examples just to demonstrate. So nous regardons le ciel, nous le regardons. Okay, because ciel is a direct object. Nous regardons quoi? We are looking at what? Quoi? Nous le regardons. Likewise, let's look at this example. Nous donnons l'argent à Jacques. we give money to Jack. Nous donnons l'argent à Jacques. Now let's say we want to find out what is Jack. Who, like, what is it, a direct object or an indirect object? So ask the question, we are giving the money to who? Nous donnons l'argent à qui? So à qui, the preposition à is used. So Jacques is an indirect object. So is nous lui donnons l'argent. Okay. One more example. Vous dites bonjour à vos enfants. You are saying hello, good day to your children. You are saying good day to whom? Like if you want to find out whether vos enfants is a direct or indirect, you ask the question à qui. Vous dites bonjour à qui? So vous leur dites bonjour. Okay. Now let's look at the causative. So example of a causative sentence, like I mean with a sentence with a causative construction is more appropriate. Il fait construire une maison. He had a house built. So if I want to know what kind of an object is a house, is it a direct or an indirect object? Il fait construire quoi? What did he construct? So answer to the question quoi? Une maison. So this is a direct object. Second example, il fait parler Pierre à ses parents. He made Peter talk to his parents. So you want to find out whether Peter is a direct object or an indirect object. So il fait parler qui à ses parents? Who did he make talk to his parents? Qui is qui. Remember we said qui, not à qui. So since there is no preposition used, this is going to be a direct object. Okay. So this Pierre will become a direct object. So if we were to just substitute Pierre in this sentence, what will it become? It will be as il le fait parler and then à ses parents. So it's le. Why did we use le? Because Pierre is a direct object. He made Peter speak to his parents. It's not Peter speaking to the parents. If it is Peter speaking to the parents, to his parents, let's say it is going to. Let's say the sentence was Pierre parle. I'm just going to use this since à ses parents, or il parle let's say à Pierre. So in this case, Peter talks to his parents, he talks to Peter. So in this case, if we wanted to find out if ses parents or Pierre is a direct or an indirect object, then what question do we ask? Pierre parle à qui? So hence when we substitute, it will be Pierre le parle. And if you want to substitute Pierre here, il parle à qui? À qui? Remember preposition à qui? So it will be il lui parle. But, right? Indirect object. But over here, it's not an indirect object because he is making Peter speak to his parents. So Peter becomes a direct object. So hence we use il le fait parler à ses parents. This le is Peter. Okay, so this le is Peter over here. So il le fait parler à ses parents. So I'm just going to be giving few examples along with the utilization of passé composé, and hopefully this sheds light as to why we use the direct object. Example 1, il a fait parler Marie plus franchement. He made Mary speak more frankly. So how do we use this? How do we use a question to find out the object? Who is the object here? Il a fait parler Marie. He made Mary speak. So Mary is the object. So what question do we ask? So we ask, il a fait parler qui plus franchement? He made who speak more frankly? Il a fait parler qui? Remember, he is not speaking to Mary over here. He's just making Mary speak. So he made who speak more? Frankly, Mary. So qui, il a fait parler qui. So that is why when we use the passé composé, that is the past tense of this sentence constructed with the with causative construction, we say il l'a fait parler. Because la, this is going to be used, and since it's passé composé, it was what? Il l'a a fait, and so obviously there is the clash of the vowel, so we get rid of it, and il l'a fait parler plus franchement. We use la over here, la, which is the direct object pronoun. Il l'a fait parler plus franchement. So example 2. Priya parle à son ami. For this we say Priya lui parle if you want to get rid of this, right? But let's say il, where is it? Let's take an example if this is the sentence we want to use. This is the causative construction. Il a fait téléphoner Priya à son ami. He made Priya telephone her friend. So this is a causative construction. So il a fait téléphoner Priya. He made who call her friend? Priya call her friend. So il a fait téléphoner qui? Priya. So Priya is what? Direct object. So once again, direct object we use what? For what do we use for direct object? Il l'a fait. La replaces Priya. Il l'a fait téléphoner, right? Téléphoner à son ami, blah blah blah. So il l'a fait, and if you're going to use it in passé composé, it's going to be what? It will be il l'a, because of vowel clash, fait, and then you continue téléphoner à son ami. So that's why we used la over here, because it's a direct object and it replaces the object Priya, which is a direct object. Third example, il a fait marcher ses amis sur la neige. He made his friends walk. Ooh, why would this come? He's made his friends walk on the snow. He made who walk on the snow? His friends. So il a fait marcher qui sur la neige? Ses amis. Qui, remember qui is the question used, not a qui. So qui, so it's a direct object. So il les a fait marcher sur la neige. Les is used for the, les is used for what? Ses amis, direct object. A fait is the passé composé. So il les a fait marcher sur la neige. Example 4. Il a fait acheter Nisha une robe pour sa fille. He made Nisha buy a dress for his daughter. Il a fait acheter qui une robe pour sa fille? Who did he make buy a dress for his daughter? Nisha. Il a fait acheter qui? We ask the question qui, right? So qui is what? Direct object. So she is a direct object. So Nisha is a direct object. So il l'a fait acheter une robe pour sa fille. He made her buy, my apologies, he made her buy a dress for his daughter. So il l'a fait acheter. He made her. Her is denoted by la, and it is la, and then a is for the passé composé. So il l'a fait acheter une robe pour sa fille. Let's say it was il fait acheter ses parents une robe pour sa fille. He made his parents buy a dress for his daughter. So his parents, direct object again. Il a fait acheter qui? Ses parents. So in this case what will happen? Parents is their direct object. So if we have to replace the direct object, what will become? Il les a fait acheter une robe pour sa fille. So les, right? Les replaces ses parents. Example 5 and the last one. Il a fait dire Annie la vérité. He made Annie tell the truth. So who did he make to tell the truth? Il a fait dire qui la vérité? Qui? Who? ki, right? Not a ki. Il a fait dire ki, Annie. So Annie is a direct object. So we use what? We use la to replace it, right? We use la to replace it. So if we use in the passé composé, il l'a fait dire la vérité. If we dissect the sentence, il l'a fait dire la vérité. I am not using the same because my keyboard is actually a English keyboard and it's horrendous trying to figure out the shortcuts. Il l'a fait dire la vérité. Because of the vowel, we get rid of this and il l'a fait dire la vérité. If we just use it in the present tense, il l'a fait dire la what? Vérité. So I hope this clarifies why we use the direct object while constructing the passé composé or even the present tense, right? Why do we use the direct object instead of the indirect? We cannot use the indirect object because in this sentence, il a fait dire Annie la vérité. Who is the object? Annie. And how do you know whether it's a direct or the indirect? By asking the question. Il a fait dire qui la vérité. Remember to always use these questions after the verb. Il a fait dire qui la vérité. In this, il a fait acheter is the second verb. Qui ses parents. In this one, il a fait marcher qui ses amis. After the verb, the second verb, the last verb rather. Il a fait téléphoner qui? Il a fait téléphoner qui à son ami? Priya à son ami. So that's how we find out whether the object used is a direct or indirect object, and accordingly it dictates what to be used in the passé composé as well. So I hope you guys found this little video useful and informative. And like I said, it's a very impromptu video. I usually create videos whenever any of my friends or my students ask for any question or doubt. So I try to explain to them with a very visual representation. So if you have liked it, please do like my video and do share it. More importantly, do share it with everybody else. And do write to me directly if you have any questions on your assignments or if you need me to explain anything further. Okay, till then, happy learning and take care.